Culturally Clueless.
Salam everyone, make sure to tune in. It's time for Culturally Clueless, and today it's going to be interesting. Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and anti-Christianity sentiments. So stay tuned. Welcome to Culturally Clueless, and as I said prior, we have today Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and anti-Christianity sentiments, and we have a good few interesting people here. So let's dive straight in, have everybody introduce themselves. And guys, for those who've been following me for the longest, I just have to say this. So Nasima was supposed to be here, yes, and I know some of you are going to be very excited because I know how much you like Nasima, but she couldn't make it. So sorry for it. Wasn't misinformation to put it out there prior, but she is sick. She cannot speak. She lost her voice. So she's definitely going to be here next time. And she says hello. So that's for that. And then, yeah, let's get going. Mike, who are you and what are you doing here?
Yeah, so excellent. Thanks, Ness, for inviting me, first of all. My name's Mike. I'm from the United States. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Navy. I am an advocate for Palestine. I'm a former pro-Israeli that came online after October 7th to advocate for Israel, and I got an education along the way. My stances have changed on everything. So that's what I'm about. I'm about advocating for the Palestinians.
Hey, who's next? All right. Hello, welcome back. You don't even have to say much. People know you as the guy from Australia, and they seem to like you. Oh, the brother, yeah. Oh my God.
The brother from Australia. Hello, everyone. I'm the brother from Australia, Ray. I am a Palestinian. I'm a Muslim. I lived some time of my life in Syria as well. I live in Australia now. I'm, of course, advocating for, in general, I advocate for my people in Palestine and my people in Syria since I lived there. And of course, I advocate for all oppressed people from different backgrounds, different religions, and different countries. And thanks for having me here again today. I'm looking forward to to have some interesting conversation.
Okay, we're gonna agree on one thing, guys. Stop saying thank you for being here. It's just like you guys keep coming back, so there is no need to say thank you. Okay, Maria.
Hello, Ness. I'm here again. And I hold myself to don't say it. But yeah, it's a pleasure to participate every time. My point of view on this specific episode is gonna be from the agnostic point of view. So I hope our viewers, our listeners enjoy the conversation. And that's it.
Okay, delivery.
I am an American Jew of the ancient style, not of the Kabbalah style. I was raised a Zionist and lost my faith in modern Judaism in my teens decades ago visiting the Holy Land.
Wow, that's loaded. Okay, Octavio, last but not least.
Thanks for having me, Ness. Really appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me for this conversation, this discussion with you guys. I'm sure it will be great. I am Octavio, a Christian first and foremost. I'm Catholic. Um, I'm a I'm a father. I'm a family man, and I view everything through the Christian lens. That's basically how I view things, and that's the only thing I ever advocate for. Nothing else.
Okay, so let me let's get started right away. What is your Christian lens telling you when you look at everybody introducing themselves? And we keep it real here, by the way, like we don't sugarcoat.
uh, what I see is different people who hold to different ideologies, and that's pretty much everyone in the world, and they will advocate for their ideology because they are primarily how do I say this, invested in their ideology. So whatever ideology a person believes in, that's what they're going to advocate for. It doesn't matter whether they're talking about politics, it doesn't matter whether they're talking about relationships. They're going to come from that lens. So all you have to do is identify that person's ideology, what is the dominant ideology in that person's life. So for a Muslim, it will be Islam. For a Jew, it will be Judaism. And if it's not that, if then you can deduce that it's probably secularism. If they're not into Judaism, for example, or they're not into Islam, then it's probably secularism. So once you identify what that dominant ideology is, then you'll understand where they're coming from when talking about politics, when talking about dating, when talking about all of that. So when I look at everyone in this panel, I'm I'm thinking, okay, everyone has an ideology here. So regardless of what we're talking about, they're going to be coming from that. And that's basically human beings in a nutshell.
So then, okay, if that's the case, let's establish what Islamophobia is, what anti-Semitism is, what xenophobia on a whole is, and anti-Christianity sentiments. I don't know, delivery, if you want to have a go.
Sure. Well, from my perspective, I agree to a point with what Octavio is saying. I also slightly disagree because while I do view things through a lens inspired by like ancient Torah, I also need to rationalize my beliefs with being moral to everyone, whether they are of my faith or not. And ultimately, moralism is kind of my driving force. And all people, no matter what they look like or what they believe, if they are decent and good to the people around them, they deserve to live their lives as they see fit.
Okay, and where do you think all these antis come from?
I think it's just fear. I think it's fear masquerading as as strength, and more often than not, I think that we see the reality of who people are when they're most challenged. Um, and it's an easy thing to fight the idea of being less than by saying that you're greater than, but that's weak. And weakness is a sure path to something horrible.
Okay. So Maria, how's that for you when you hear that as somebody who doesn't really have a religion?
Well, I respect it, and I see I see as a cultural thing because this has been told from generation after generation, right? And to me, it's interesting how humans think, because I believe there is a God, right? Why? Why do I believe there is a God? Because everything looks so perfect. Like our brain is the most powerful machine. The color green of the leaf is not coincidence. is basically by design. So that's what I admire and respect. But the behaviors, the rules, are being taught by generations after generations. So I do respect it, but I don't think that they shouldn't be mandatory, in my opinion.
You guys can talk, like don't wait for me to say something.
You asked a specific question, right? Because I was going to address delivery on one thing. But I know Michael and Ray are waiting to talk. You asked a specific question. Is it anti-Semitism and Islamophobia about those terminologies? Is that what we are answering next? Because I would rather hear from Ray and Michael right now.
Look, everybody can talk here. Everybody can say whatever they want. We're not limited to a particular, order or anything. Like you guys are just like acting like we are in a graveyard.
Yeah, but
feels so much more formal.
Yeah, like don't be too formal. Like what the?
To answer Octavio's question, yes, that is the goal, to address Islamophobia, to address anti-Semitism. So yeah,
Okay.
I think that like, for example, Mike, you have been advocated so hard this last year. Pretty sure that you have come across with anti-Semitism.
Yeah, no, we face anti-Semitism quite often. I don't know about delivery, but I'm often called names when I'm up on panels: self-hating Jew, capo, etc. And I just, I'd like to think that these people are just ignorant. But I would like to touch on Islamophobia because I do believe that this is taught in the U.S. And it's instilled in us from a young age that the Muslims are bad people, that they're basically terrorists. We see this in our cartoons, we see this on TV. I think of 9/11, and back then, to me it was, we were attacked by Muslims. They're on a jihad, like a holy war. And it was just, after your eyes open and you're able to accept, people for who they are, you can see that, people that are Muslim are no different from us. And that a lot of the things that instill fear in us are for a reason, right? And I would blame basically the Zionist entity for trying to grow this fear within us.
And it's interesting to know that all three religions started in the same place.
I don't agree with the term Islamophobia. I don't agree with the term anti-Semitism. I don't think such thing exists. And I think the only reason why these things exist is to stop people from criticizing these ideologies. Every ideology, including Christianity, must be criticized. It must be stripped down and criticized. You can't protect an ideology, because let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. If someone says, I have something against Christianity, okay, I would rather engage with that person. I would say, okay, let's find out what is it that you have against Christianity. All right, let's talk about it. I would wish that would be the attitude of every single human being on earth, but that isn't, unfortunately.
No, it's not. But who says that? For the most part, it's not. Do you feel that Muslims don't engage in that kind of conversation? Do you feel that Islam doesn't allow questions?
I don't ever criticize Muslims or Jews. If I'm going to criticize something, I'm going to criticize that person's ideology, because I believe that a person operates off of that ideology. It's that ideology that rules over that person. So I always criticize the ideology. If you want to know about Islam, don't look into Islam. Learn about Islam. Find out about the Hadith, find out about the Quran. If you want to learn about Judaism, is it Rabbinic Judaism, Talmud, and so on, read the Talmud. Read the Torah, read the Nevi'im, read the Ketuvim, read these books, and then you will know how these people think and so on. And I criticize the ideology rather than the person, because people do all types of stupid stuff that they shouldn't do. But it's the ideology that I have an issue. If you think that Islam is a good ideology, it can coexist with other ideologies, then yeah, bring the evidence for that. If you think the same thing with Judaism, bring the evidence for that. Same thing. But it's the ideology that we need to focus on, not
But,
the
but
people.
what is the ideology? You keep talking, you said, okay, people need to look into the hadith and into the Quran, and then they need to see how these people think. First of all, I want to say that religion stands on its own, okay? People are not necessarily representative, and especially not all people for any religion. You can tell me, like, there are so many Christians, so many Jewish people, so many Muslim people who are doing stuff on behalf of religion, which is not religious.
I would say, look, and when I say ideology, right, guys, I'm not just talking about religious ideologies here. Okay, there are people who believe in feminism. Okay, feminism is an ideology that came after the Enlightenment period, came after, it's one of the ideologies that was born out of secularism. You've got secular humanism, you've got wokeism, you've got all types of ideologies.
Yeah, we get that.
So it's not only every single human being holds to some set of beliefs that dominates their lives. Okay, this is what I was saying in the beginning. You have to find out what that is, all right, and then you'll understand where that person is coming from, and then you'll understand why they hold the views, why they do what they do, and so on. Not everyone is completely obedient to their ideology, but for the most part, they do have an allegiance to that ideology. So if it came to what are you going to do right now? Are you going to go with your conscience or with your ideology? Most people will go with their ideology rather than what their conscience is telling them, even if they disagree with their ideology. Because guess what? We are indoctrinated since a child to believe in our ideologies. So we're going to have more of an allegiance towards our ideology than our conscience. So this is why I say it's important to look into what that person believes in rather than analyze every single bad thing that person does.
But you're equating ideology with a person's behavior. This is my issue.
Oh, you don't think a person's ideology influences their behavior?
If you call Islam or any religion an ideology, and where is the proof that it has so in Islam we're not supposed to drink alcohol. Do you know how many Muslim people drink? So how do you cannot say that everybody is 100% true to the book, or any book for that matter. So when
no. But can you hold a Muslim accountable for let's say you catch a Muslim drinking when she's not supposed to be drinking,
yeah,
and then you are a Muslim yourself, and you say, brother, sister, what are you doing? What do you think that reaction? What do you think that Muslim who is drinking? What do you think his reaction will be?
Well, it depends on the person. That's what I'm trying to say to you. People are different. You cannot say that everyone is the same.
No. But just look at that scenario right there. You're holding that person accountable to something. Yes. You're saying what you're doing is wrong. And you know what he'll probably most likely do? He'll listen to you. He'll say, you're right. You know, what I'm doing is bad, and so on. You're basically saying that this is what we abide by. And you are basically you are falling off its standard. You're not behaving according to the standard. And this is what I'm saying with ideologies, how powerful ideologies are. You can hold people accountable to it. So this is a fact. This is why we always have to look at what the ideology teaches rather than that person's stupid mistake.
But what you're saying, or you said, is that a person is to be judged on their on the ideology that they follow, in this case any religion. And I don't think it's like that, because most people don't even stick to it. I don't know if anyone else wants to say something, because maybe I'm not getting it, you know, like I don't know.
Yeah, look, right, I have something to say here.
Please.
So there is and I'm going to sort of from at least from my beliefs point of view, from the Islamic point of view. So there is Islam and there is Muslims, okay? and Muslims who identify themselves as people who follow the Islamic religion. That starts from, of course, the monotheism and, believing in one creator. And then we start from that point. There is one creator, one God, and, we move forward and go deeper into the understanding. Now, the differences here of the understanding is based, of course, is influenced by the environment, culture, the traditions sometimes. And that's where you start seeing I'm not going to call it discrepancies. I'm going to call it the differences in practicing and applying the teachings and applying the scripture and whatever that was taught. Okay, so that's where of course you might see, and that's where maybe Octavio, that's where you would start looking into. When you mentioned, for example, someone is drinking alcohol, okay, and someone would tell them, okay, you're doing something wrong or something that is haram or prohibited, okay. Well, there's a scripture in the Quran, okay. It says God or Allah forgives everything, okay, Allah doesn't forgive the associating any God or any creator or worshipping any other God except him, and forgives anything or everything beyond that. Okay, so that could be a good starting point, right? So when you tell someone that you are drinking alcohol, it shouldn't really come from an aggressive point of view. It shouldn't really come from, hey, look, you're drinking alcohol and you're going to hell. No, doesn't work this way. Okay, it works that there is scripture, there is a teaching that we shouldn't really do that, and there is a reason behind it. Okay, and maybe you can try, because I always call Islam as a credit system. Okay, you are earning credit as you go during your lifetime. Okay, so you've got teachings, you've got some, again, I cannot really call it instructions. It's some pathway, all right, and some guidances, all right, and those guidances will get you to earn credit until you reach to the, let's say, to the test point, or let's say to the credit checkpoint, and to see if you managed to, what is the score, let's call it. Okay, now it's easy to score. This is the thing, when you do something wrong, you get some, let's call it some demerit point. Okay, when you do something that is against teaching, you get a demerit point. When you do something good, you get 10 credit points. Okay, and that starts from as simple as smiling to someone. I'm smiling to you now, or if I come across you and I smile to you, okay, I got myself 10 credit points, right? So
Great.
This is, if we put together this understanding, all right, it might really be easier for us to understand and to deal, and maybe to know or understand where people are coming from, if that makes sense. Okay, but again, in general, not in Islam only, in general, a religion without understanding, without education about religion, further education, okay, then you are going to face a lot of wrong actions, okay? Because what happens here is that, you read something and you understand it your way. Someone else would read it, will understand it their way. And you can imagine, especially with Islam, especially that the Quran came in one language, which is Arabic, okay? And you have translations, but the actual script is in Arabic, okay? So even in Arabic itself, there are levels of understanding. You know, people learn Arabic, but not everyone would understand it the way that it should be. Okay, they've got different interpretations. Okay, so if someone would say, I just follow the script, I follow Quran only, or I follow Hadith and Quran, whatever the scripts that we have, whatever the books that we have as guidances. Okay, now let's see. Okay, you follow them, good on you, nice. But did you really understand? Did you apply? Did you make sure that you are actually linking or matching, you know, where and what are they? What, you know, when you follow some rule or when you follow some teaching, did you really match it, or did you really try to apply it exactly where it is? Because, you know, the Islamophobia, I know that you said you don't really agree with the term, but the Islamophobia is coming from, some of it is coming from, you know, taking some script out of context. Simple as that. And used widely by, you know, by media outlets at Hollywood and news and, you know, and there it goes, okay? So, and I, you know, later on, I'm going to bring an example that happened with us yesterday with Michael with us and Maria, and I'm sure Neswan was there or not, but it happened on Michael's panel on TikTok, you know, some very good example. And, you know, it was, you know, completely cleared, you know, within like 15 minutes. Okay. But that's what I'm trying to put together.
I don't want to come across as if I'm picking on Islam. No, I'm gonna take it away from Islam. I'm going to take it away from Islam, and I'm going to give you, you know, another ideology that I don't agree with Islam. I don't agree with the Talmud. I don't agree with many ideologies. I told you, strictly Christianity only. Now, and I didn't mean you approach the brother that's drinking and you are and your behavior is tyrannical. It's like, how dare you drink, and you scold them. I don't mean, you can say, you can tell another person that they're doing wrong in a loving way, you know, in a nice way. You don't have to be harsh to that person. You can be, you know, you can be nice to that person and still tell them that they're doing something wrong. I'm going to take it away from Islam, for example, feminism. Right? Feminism agrees with abortion, agrees with contraception, it agrees with same-sex marriage, it agrees with all of these. I call it the feminism to me is a religion, and now this is, if feminism was to ever have a Bible or a Quran or something like that, this is what they would say we believe in. Okay, we believe in killing unborn babies. We believe in, you know, promiscuity and so on and so forth. This is what they agree with. You have to make a choice as a human being whether you are okay with that ideology or not. Okay, you have to make that decision, and this is unfortunately, this is the consequence. These are the consequences of living in a multicultural kind of secular world that we are currently living. All right. I don't like feminism one bit. I don't agree with it one bit, just like I don't agree with Islam one bit. But guess what? I'm not going to go and attack. My religion tells me, my ideology tells me that it's not the sinner, it's the sin. Okay, and we look at abortion as something sinful, is evil. It should stop immediately. We look at promiscuity in the same way. So me, I look at, okay, these people believe in this ideology, all right? And in the secular world, you have the right to. You have the right to. And this is what I'm saying, why it's so dangerous for people to come up with these terms of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, because guess what? They even came up with Christophobia. Can you believe that? I don't agree with Christophobia at all. I think Christianity should be thoroughly criticized. Now, are people going to abuse their power? Are people going to be hateful towards Muslims? Are people going to be hateful towards Christians? Are people going? Yes, this is just human nature. We can't keep avoiding human nature. Some people are going to abuse their power. Politicians do it all the time. We all do it. Okay, everyone does it, from the layman all the way up to the top. So, I believe that everything, of course, we should put things in place in order to, you know, and we do. We have a law that says you shouldn't harm people, you shouldn't do bad things to people, right? And if someone does that, you should, whatever. But the thing is, to call it Islamophobia, to call it anti-Semitism, it kind of takes away that ability, or Christophobia, it takes away that ability to criticize that person's ideology. And I don't think it will work. Why? Because we are our primary allegiance is to our ideologies. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a feminist, look at feminists. They hate Christians outside abortion clinics. It's been made illegal
I'm
to
sorry
be
to interrupt, but it's a big difference between disagreeing with a religion or ideology and hate them, and that's what the phobia goes on. Like, for example, I don't agree with any religion, but I think the people in this panel are wonderful. You know what I mean? I don't follow any religion. But I think my friends, my Christian friends, my Muslim friends, my Jewish friends are great people. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's disagreeing is one thing, but told them that, for example, a Muslim person that they want to, what was the phrase that they used in the panel, right? They told them
Muslims want to unalive all the Jews. That's what he said yesterday.
Yeah.
That's a fear that is injected in the population.
Let me understand. What did he provide? Okay, he said something that to a lot of people sound polarizing. All right. Did he provide any evidence for that?
Zero.
Oh, that's exactly what when I said that, within 15 minutes.
And this is my entire point. If you're going to say something as polarizing as that, then you have to provide evidence. Okay, where does it say in the hadiths? Where does it say in the Quran? Where does it say in the Bible? Where does it say in the Torah? Where does it say in their ideology? So if a feminist say to me, you believe in killing babies. Well, I know people that believe in feminism believe in killing babies. I'm not saying something outrageous. It's just a fact. It's what people believe in. So you have to provide evidence when you make these claims.
No, come on. Wait. Come on, bro.
Islam. Look.
You're not Israeli.
But the word phobia, the word phobia means fear. So these people have inject fear. And what is fear? Comes from ignorance. They don't know a thing about any of these religions, but they are judging them already. I'm sorry, delivery.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And I think that Ness kind of touched on this earlier a little bit when she was describing the difference between like viewing someone through specifically their ideologies or viewing someone for how their ideologies affect their behavior in day-to-day life. And I think this is really important because this is where we see the difference between, like a Franciscan monk and I can't even remember the name, the Westboro Baptist Church, like threatening violence against gays. Like this, like there is a huge divide of a billion different beliefs in every system of belief. And so I think it's really important to rationalize that like no one person is a monolith to their belief system. They are part of the tapestry that makes up their entire belief system. And so because of that, I think it's really important. And while I feel like I kind of understand what you're saying, Octavio, I think that there's one side of it where it's ignorance with a willingness to listen and learn and like be open to like, maybe I don't agree with you, but I'll hear you out. And I don't think it's fair to call those people anti-Semitic or Islamophobic or whatever. But I think that the second type, which is I'm ignorant and I'm choosing to stay that way because you're different than me, that's where the phobia stuff applies because it's hate-based.
And I believe in providing evidence. I don't agree with one thing you did say, Michael.
That is delivery.
Sorry, that was delivery.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, Michael. I apologize. I didn't agree with one thing. For example, in Christianity, it doesn't matter whether you're Protestant, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Orthodox. It really doesn't matter. We hold to certain tenets that we all agree on. Everyone agrees that Jesus Christ, everyone agrees on the Trinity, everyone agrees that he died, was crucified, resurrected.
Not all Christians agree with the Trinity.
This is what I'm saying.
That's not the majority, the overwhelming majority does. Just like in Islam, you've got the Sunnis. That's the overwhelming majority of Muslims. Yes, you're gonna have sects within these ideologies, but there is also there is a dominant understanding of that ideology that most people hold to. I'm not talking about the minority here. I'm talking about the majority here. So that's the only thing I would say that I don't agree. I believe in providing evidence. If I'm going to make a claim, if I'm going to make a statement, I'm going to say, oh, you guys believe in this. I should not be vilified for speaking the truth. I should not, if I'm saying something that's factual and I'm saying, okay, now, if you say to me, okay, all right, let me explain what that means. Okay, then that's a different conversation. Okay, but if I'm saying, for example, Hollywood managed to convince the whole world that every single Catholic priest is a pedophile, right? They've managed to do that through the media. When you think of a Catholic priest, what's the first thing that comes to your head? They're all pedophiles, right?
Not to mine.
Oh, thank God. That's good. That's good. That's good.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We're going to talk about the Hollywood thing in a second, but I just want to, you see how you talk is when you have people sit together like we do and have a conversation. But let's take it away from that because a lot of people don't have that conversation. And this is why these phobias exist, because they come from ignorance, not just from fear. Okay. And these things start when you take like a term like anti-Semitism, which was coined by Wilhelm Marr. He was a political writer, German political writer in the 1870s, right? And when you even think of anti-Semitism, Arabs are Semites too. So we're Semites too. We're not just, it's just not exclusive to Judaism, but the way that they marketed it and the propaganda took it that way. And then the next thing, okay, if you take the example, right? Like last month, there was this guy, this Saudi Arabian guy who hates Islam. And he went and he drove his car into some Christmas market. And then he killed a bunch of people and injured a bunch of people. And all of this because he hates Islam. And he felt that the country was allowing Islam to take over. So this is somebody who's doing an action against some people or something, or he's like taking it out in a very different way, which is very harmful. So you cannot just say, well, people have to bring evidence and stuff. There are sick people in this world, and there are people who have different motives and do different things because of different reasons.
Yes, I just want to touch on the evidence real quick. Because over the last 14 months, I've noticed the rise of anti-Semitism. And some of the things these people do, right, they come up, they'll take a passage and they'll take it out of context. So you misunderstand the true meaning of it. And, I'm not someone that can call that out or would notice that. Because I'm not familiar with the religion, with the Quran or anything. But I have seen this happen over the last 14 months, and it's not an isolated incident. We're seeing this happen, frequently up on panels where they're taking passages and just reading quotes out of the passages to twist the meaning, to further install more, Islamophobia, more hatred.
You see, the reason why I brought up the priests and Hollywood convincing the whole world and the news and so on, the mainstream media convincing the whole world that every single priest is a pedophile, is to show that the reason why, for example, for me, that doesn't affect me one bit is because when I ask someone, well, where's the evidence that Christianity believes in pedophilia, for example, you cannot point to anything that Christ said that will support your claim that because pedophiles are because some priests have been caught abusing children, then therefore Christianity, you guys believe in pedophilia. I would say, listen, look at my ideology. This is how I deal with everything. Look at my ideology. Where do we teach this? And if you can't find it, then what you're saying in a sense, it could be construed as Christophobia. You just hate Christianity, and that's fine. People are going to hate people's ideologies, but for the most part, we should be able to talk about it. You mentioned, okay, people taking verses out of context and so on. Well, And to me, when someone takes a verse out of context, it's incumbent in me to then go and correct that person and say, look, listen, all right, I believe this ideology. You've taken this out of context. Let's have a debate. Now, what that does is that promotes a culture that likes to debate things. Okay, because right now, if you have anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, Christophobia, what we are doing is hiding. We are not promoting a culture that wants to debate, that wants to get to the truth. What we want to do is we want to protect certain things that I don't think is going to be useful for us in the future. And I don't think these things that we are protecting right now is good, or it's going to be good in the long run, because I don't think it will. So that's just my opinion.
I don't think you understand where we're coming from. You know, like there are people who do things on behalf of religion, any religion. Okay, when we look at persecution, there is Christian persecution. It's been going on. It's happened. There is also, like, when you think of 1054, the Great Schisms that separated the Catholic Christians and the Orthodox Christians, and they got them fighting. We talk about the Fourth Crusade. You know, there are so many things, you know, that are happening, and it's still ongoing. When you think of genocides that are happening, like to Muslims, the Rohingyas in Myanmar, when you think about the Uyghurs in China, we cannot disregard them just because somebody says, "Oh, prove it with your ideology." It doesn't work like that. People are being killed and slaughtered on behalf of religion.
No, Nez, everything that you've mentioned was because, for example, the Crusades was a response to the Islamic nation attacking Europe and so on and so forth. Everything that you mentioned, everything, literally everything, you can trace it back to their ideologies. Now, are there people? I'm not talking about the minority here, guys. Are there insane people that are going to do insane things? That's a given. That's already a given.
No, I'm talking about big politicians.
For the most part, for example, even when you go, forget Islam for a second and Christianity for a second, just go out there. Look, when I go into when I see these, feminists calling for pro-abortion, these pro-abortion feminists. If you go up there, most of them hate Christianity. Most of them hate anything that goes against their ideology. And this is not a coincidence. That's because the dominant ideology that they believe in is feminism. And this is just a fact. And what I'm saying is, it's like, when you're going to criticize anything, provide the evidence. But these being bad, if I'm bad towards a Muslim, it's not coming out of nowhere. If a Muslim is bad towards me, it's not coming out of nowhere. They didn't just wake up in the morning and decided to want to hurt me for no reason. There is a reason. And
I'm saying, let's
find out. Let me find out. Let's find out what that reason is. There's a reason why feminists go to an abortion clinic.
I just want to push back on this a little bit, because when you were talking earlier about, like, the majority opinion of various faiths, I feel like it's necessary to remind everyone that in the Old Testament there is a curse of Ham, in which the authors described that the second son of Noah would be cursed with dark skin and curly hair for all of his ancestral descendants. And this was used, along with other passages, to quite literally justify chattel slavery for hundreds of years. So, like, the idea that majority rule is the only thing that needs to be considered is quite literally how, like, evolution of thought in belief systems is prevented. And I think that it's incredibly important to remember that, even from my, like, perspective as a Jew, there was probably only ever one real Jew. And I think you know who I mean. And that is because it is a system of belief that is ultimately somewhat impossible to be purely 100% in. But that's sort of the point. Is it gives you something beyond your reach to aspire to. And so while we may have, like, different terminologies for how we would describe who I might call prophetic, a prophet, and who you might call son of God, I don't think that that's as important as how we use that understanding in respect and with respect to the people around.
I will just to quickly answer your question. I would look at. I'm glad you brought that up. Look at the slave Bible. 70% of it was edited, and they only kept a certain, 30% or whatever in order to make, Black people, African people that were taken from an transatlantic slave trade, to make them believe that they are supposed to be slaves. Okay. Uh, when you mentioned the Old Testament and you're talking about Ham, there is nowhere where it says that Ham is supposed to be black skin or have curly hair. So that's how I would, for example, answer that. And I'm up, and I would be willing, for example, and this is because I don't want to get into a religious debate, guys.
Yeah.
And we can do that at the time if you guys want to. But I would say to delivery right there, that is great. Thanks for bringing that up. Let's have a conversation, because guess what? Some people in history decided to twist something, okay, decided to tell a lie and use that, okay, and use that against they use that belief against those Black people in order to keep them as slaves. So this is why what a person believes in, and those people obviously did not believe in the Bible. They obviously did not believe. They could have. You can claim to be a Christian. Jesus Christ says it clearly. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, Lord. They will say to me, what, didn't we do this in the name? Didn't we do that in your name? And Jesus will say to them, get away from me, you evildoers. So there is we will know them by their fruits. Jesus is very clear on that. We will know them by the fruits. We will know you by your actions. You can say whatever you want, but we will know what you do. That's what you really believe in. So to me, I'm happy that he even brought that up. But because the Bible does not support that at all. And we can go, where does it say that Ham is black and has curly hair? It doesn't. That's the point. But the thing is, why am I willing to do that? Why am I willing to say, okay, let's have the conversation, and everyone else will say, no, let's just call it Christophobia. How dare you?
But nobody said that. Christophobia would be
question all of that?
Christophobia would be if you act violently, or if you cause harm because you don't agree with it, because you don't understand it, because you go against it, when you're hateful towards it. Nobody talks about not having an understanding or not agreeing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when people actually take it 10 steps further or 20 steps further. And this is the whole thing, which is happening. Like, okay, so how is it? I go to work the way I look and I get called, you look like a radical. What is that? So I'm supposed to say, okay, I'm supposed to say, bring the evidence.
Yes.
Nez, oh wow, no, that's not what I do. I just
that's exactly what you're supposed to. Next time, do that, Nez. Nez, did you see the definition for Islamophobia proposed by the English government?
No, but I see what Tommy Robinson is doing.
No. This is what I'm trying to say. We had to go to Tommy Robinson. This is not what my point is. My point is that definition did not just talk about if you go and hurt someone physically. Okay, even criticizing the religion. All right, it is seen as something bad, and this is what I'm trying to say. This is
bring the evidence that the government of the UK is saying if you criticize Islam, you're Islamophobe. I want to see that.
Well, there's the Islamophobia definition that the government proposed was criticized so much that it hasn't been made into law yet. But the point I'm trying to make, and you can pull it up and look it up and you'll see. But it was proposed, but that with that definition basically said you cannot say nothing about Islam. You cannot criticize it from any angle. So
but we cannot say nothing about Zionism.
No, this is what I'm trying to say. This has been this is what these phobias are. So it's more than just, isn't it, Ness? It's more than just saying, oh, I'm going to hurt. It's more than just hurting someone, isn't it? These Christophobias and Islamophobias and anti-Semitism is basically you cannot attack our ideology, you cannot question our ideology, and that is the truthness, whether you like it or you don't.
No, this is when you attack people, when you take people's lives. Sorry, go Ray.
That's
look, no, that's all right. Because we keep talking about criticizing. Criticizing in what sense? Is it about asking questions and getting some truthful answers, or is it actually being offensive to the religion and the followers of that religion.
Yeah.
Because, for example, you know, if someone would it's not about criticizing my God or my prophet. It's about, you know, speaking bad, being vile, using or describing them in vile words, right? Or disrespectful words. Well, this is disrespectful, okay? But when you are coming and asking me questions and I give you answers, and you know, it's just a two-way conversation, right? Then even when you say that, you know, in your religion it says so and so, okay, can you elaborate? All right, then I wouldn't really feel offended here. I would actually, you know, yes, happily come and talk to you about it, and you know, maybe present. I'm not trying to change your mind here. I wouldn't really try to change your mind, but at least, you know, you ask the question and you're getting an answer. Simple as that. Okay,
Ray,
and
I'm
vice
offended.
versa when
Ray,
I ask
I'm
you a
offended.
question, and you know,
You've offended me, Ray. You've offended me. Everything that you just said, I found it extremely offensive, Ray. Very offensive, Ray. How dare you
okay,
offend
tell
me,
me,
Ray?
why did you get offended?
How dare you offend me, Ray? And that's the point, Ray. You can't.
Is that a Christophobia now?
You can't. You can't measure offensiveness because people be offended for anything. You know, it's like, how does one measure, you know, what will offend someone and what will not offend someone? A person that, for example, if you go to Speaker's Corner, you've got those guys debating Christianity and Islam all day. Their level of you know, their tolerance for offensiveness is higher than most people. So you can't legislate on that. I mean, what is offensive? It's like, come on.
But that's the point. This goes beyond offensive.
Look, to me, I would start from a point. By the way, here's one funny thing. Okay, I debate Muslims as well. I debate Muslim. I don't know what to call them. Some of the people which I described in my first, you know, in the first part when I jumped in, I called them the people who, you know, read the script and they would just follow the script without really understanding it. And I debated so many of them. Okay. Again, debated them. Look, they don't want to change their point of view. Well, I don't care. Like, it's like, you know, it's not my job, but at least I had to explain to them. All right. So when I'm debating, or let's say not debating, again, discussing, or you know, explaining or answering questions to a non-Muslim, I would start from a very small point. You know, in Quran there is the chapter 109. Okay, it's called the disbelievers. Okay, I don't know if you read it before. Okay, disbelievers.
It's me.
It says,
it's talking about me, Ray. It's talking about me.
Well, disbelievers in Islam, basically, you know, because, you know, someone who doesn't believe in Islam is a disbeliever to me. It's not an offense. Okay, I'm a disbeliever to you in Christianity if I don't believe in your Christianity, because, okay, I consider myself a Christian, but of course under the rules, or let's say under the understanding of who Jesus Christ is. Okay, I am a Christian and I'm a Jew again, because, you know, under the understanding of who Moses and who Jesus Christ, peace be upon them, are. Okay, because Islam is, you know, came. Again, this is how it came to us. Islam, this is how it's explained to us, is it came to complete what the two other religions, or you know, Christianity and Judaism, came to teach, right? So it came to complement and complete it. That's why they are interconnected. It is one of the pillars of faith for Muslims, to believe in Jesus Christ and to believe in all the messengers. So again, let's not go into that direction. But again, I'm going to tell you, you know, the chapter 109, which is called the disbelievers in what I believe in now. Okay, it says, "Oh, you disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship." Okay, and you do not worship what I worship. I will never worship what you worship, and you will never worship what I worship. Of course, unless you change your mind. Okay, that's comment from me. Okay, you have got your way, and I've got my way. All right. So this is a starting point for me. All right. When I'm answering your question again, it is not for me to go hard and try to, you know, make you change your mind, or make you maybe become a Muslim. Okay, you came and asked me a question for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of maybe you heard something wrong. You know, you didn't come here to criticize, but you heard something like extremely didn't make sense to you about Islam. Right? You came and asked me this question. All right. So again, I wouldn't really start. How dare you ask me this? No, it doesn't work this way. Okay, come here. Okay, ask me the question. All right. If I have the answer, I'll give you the answer. If I don't have the answer, I'll maybe at least, you know, tell you that I'm going to research, or maybe I'll, you know, call someone else who has more knowledge than me to give you the answer. Someone who did more research, someone who,
I wish society
has got at least some more exposure.
I wish society would operate in the way you've just said it. You know, I can ask you a question, and then if you have the answer, you give. If you don't, you go. I wish society operated like that, Ray. I really did. I really wish it did, but it doesn't. And I just
no, wouldn't it be nice? You know?
It would be very wonderful. And this is the society I'm advocating for. This is the society I'm advocating for, but it's obviously not working. And I think this is a test. This again goes to my point, my theory, which is that it's not working because people's priorities, their ideology. It's not necessarily reason and coming together and so on. No, it's their ideology that is the priority, and that's how they see the world, is through the lens of their ideologies. So that's how, and this is why multiculturalism isn't working. This is why we are bumping heads, because our affiliation is to our ideology. You said a couple of things that I disagreed with. But I'm not trying to make this, if you guys have noticed, I'm not trying to make this into a religious debate at all. This is not about me, and Ray, we can have that another time, trust me. Okay, I'm happy to do it any other time, and I'm very respectful, and I do listen to people. I don't like talking over them and so on and so forth. But what we are talking about is this Islamophobia, you know, anti-Semitism. You know, you guys didn't put Christophobia there. I wonder why.
No, I did. I said anti-Christian
Oh yeah, you did. Sorry,
yeah,
Ness. Sorry,
yeah,
Ness. I apologize.
Yeah. Don't do that. Because I don't operate like that. So we're very, very careful with what we say. And
you did.
I just find it, I don't know. I understand you want society to function that way, but you're still ignoring my question. If you have the Uyghurs being killed by the Chinese, okay, based on their religion, if you have the Rohingyas being killed based off of their religion, which is used by politicians